Good evening, Accelerated Math. Last ratio problem strategy I have for you. So we have done proportions, we have done double number lines, we have done tape diagrams, wait so you can see that. And today I want to talk about the last one, which is a table and the coordinate plane. This one's going to be very, very tough to fit on this page, and you may end up having to go on to the next page. It takes a lot of space, but this is an E, by the way. But it's a good strategy. So if you want to label this, and when you're ready to move on, unpause and join me. All right, so here's our first problem we've been working on. The ratio of boys to girls in a class is 3 to 2. If there are 12 boys, how many girls are there? So I'm not going to try to, this strategy takes up a lot of space, so I'm not going to try to squeeze it in here. Table plus coordinate plane. I'm going to go to another page, but I just wanted you to take a quick second to look at these other strategies so you remember how this worked. And here we go. So, two parts to this. So first I'm going to start with a simple table. And I'm going to kind of write out some instances of boys and girls. We know the ratio is 3 to 2, so it's possible to have 3 boys and 2 girls. It is also possible to have then 6 boys and 4 girls, and 9 boys and 6 girls, and so on and so forth. And so what I'm going to do, the coordinate plane is a fancy way to name a double number line that looks like this. I'm going to put a number line way down at the bottom of my page. And I'm going to use that number line for one of my 2 things. I'll say the boys. And then I'm going to draw another number line that intersects it here. Actually, let me go back, and I didn't label number lines. So I'm going to have like 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and so on. And now I'm going to do another number line that goes the other direction. And it's going to go right through the 0 on my first number line, but it's going to go up and down. So like that. And then so now my 0 on this one, I'm going to 0 at the bottom and then count up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and so on. And that'll be my girls. And what I'm going to do with these number lines is I'm going to put points, and this is an acceptable use of the word points, on this double number line. This is called a coordinate plane. And I'm going to put points that match my pairs here. So I'm going to put a point where there would be 3 boys, that's here, and where there would be 2 girls with it. So I'm going to go to 3 on the boys and 2 on the girls, and I'm going to put a point there. That point on the coordinate plane is the point where there are 3 boys and 2 girls. And then I'm going to put another one on the next point for 6 boys and 4 girls. So I'm going to go to 6 on my boys and 1, 2, 3, 4 on my girls. And I'm going to put a point right there. That's the point where there are 6 boys and 4 girls. And last but not least, I'm going to put one where there would be 9 boys right here and 6 girls right here. 9 boys, 6 girls. Now with this strategy and this problem that's so easy, I could solve this really just with the table. I mean, I already know if I go one more group, I'm going to have 12 boys and 8 girls. I kind of already can just do that one easily with my table. But I want to show you the strategy. So the strategy is I'm going to put a few points on there. And then what I'm going to do is, like, imagine taking a ruler and you're going to draw a line, yes, actually a line, that goes through all the points here. and continues on and on and on and on and on and on, and on this way. And really I need it to also continue on and on and on and on the other way. See if I can make this do that. Yeah, I wanted to keep going this way and this way. And it is actually truly a line, not a line segment. It would theoretically, I could keep making groups of boys and girls like forever and ever. And so what I want to do, so if there are 12 boys, how many girls are there? So what I would do is go out to 12 boys and say, all right, well, if I went on this, now that I've got this graph of my ratio, if I were to go up from 12 boys, if I had made this just perfectly, let me make sure I try to do that for you. If I go up just right, it looks like when I go up from 12 boys, I get to a point right there, and that point shows me that there are 8 girls. So that's my answer, my point of 12, 8. So I make this graph, and I could just, at any number I wanted to see, like 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, let's say. If there were 18 boys, I can look up there and see how many girls there would be if I went that far, which I hadn't done. So that's how that strategy works. Let me do another one. Our second one, little trickier, involved this, the 4 paperback books that cost $14. So I'm going to draw a number line here. Doesn't really matter which one has books and which one has dollars. There's a way to decide which one's best on the bottom and which one's best on the sides. I don't want to get into that right now. So I'm just going to tell you I'm going to put books on the bottom. So I could buy, so I need a place to be 0. So that would be my 0, 1 book, 2 books, 3 books, 5 books, 6 books, 7 books, 8 books, 9 books, 10 books, and so on. And then another one for my dollars. It goes right through the 0 on the first number line. It's like this goes 0 here, and it's 0 on the other one as well. I'm going to go like in 2s on this because I have to go higher. 2, 4, 6. Oh, you know what? I'm going to need more space here. So I'm actually going to go I'm going to do 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28, and so on. So this one I'm going to go by 2s on dollars because I think it'll help me fit it better. So on my table, I need at least 2 sets of my ratio, so books and dollars. So the one I know is 4 and 14. And if I make one more and do 8 and 28, that's enough points for me to make my line. So let me go out to 4 books, $14. You can tell that's 4 books, $14. And then 8 books, $28. 8 books, $28. And from there, I'm ready to, for you, drawing it, I would get a ruler or a straight edge because you want this to be as accurate as possible. My line should go through both points. If I draw it just right, it can be a little tough to draw. And it also will it should end up also going through the intersection of the 2 number lines too. So it looks like that is going to be my line. And it keeps going on and on and on. And on and on and on. So now I've got 4, and I've got 8, 28, and I'm looking for 7. So if I buy 7 books, I'm going to go up to this point right here. I didn't draw my graph perfectly. So from here, that's a good way for me to explain a limitation of this strategy. So it looks from my graph like the answer would be $24. 7 books, $24. So this strategy, one of the limits of it, if you'll remember from our other examples, the answer to this one's actually $24.50, I believe. $24.50. So this one, because it takes so much space, and because it takes such a perfectly accurate drawing, a lot of times it gets you a very close answer. I'm not way off, but not a particularly exact answer. What this tells me is I slightly didn't have my line segment in my line in the right place, rather. So probably my line should have looked just like the slightest bit different, kind of like that. And now you see if I go up from 7, I'm a little past, just a little bit past the 24 line. So it's a little more than $24 to get exactly $24.50. It's not perfect all the time, but it's pretty good and it's pretty close. All right, let's do the last one together. So Berkmar Middle School, 1,400 students. The ratio of boys to girls is 3 to 4. How many students are boys and how many students are girls at Berkmar Middle School? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to pause real quick and I'm going to set up I'm running a little short on time. I'm going to set up my number lines and then they're just going to appear for you instantly. Boom, and there it is. So in this one, since I have to go so high, I decided to go by 50s. So this would be like 50, 100, 150, 200, 250, 300, 350, 400. And I'll do my boys on the bottom, my girls on the side. And now this one, like on this graph, since I had to go by hundreds, I don't really want to do 3 to 4. That's like, that's like too tight of a squeeze here. So I'm just going to jump up to 300 to 400. I'm going to just jump up to that group because that's easy for me to put on here. When there's 300 boys, there's 400 girls. And so if you want to draw it in since you're new at this and remind yourself that point there shows me that when there's 300 boys, there's 1,400 girls. You can do that. And I'm just going to draw, because my next one's going to be the answer, right? We already done this enough to know. My next group, 300 to 600, 400, 800, that's actually going to be my answer. So it's kind of disappointing to just already put it there. So I'm going to go ahead and just use the intersection and that point that I already have and kind of make my line from those. That looks about right. Remember, this is a line, not a line segment in this case, because I can have more students than I'm showing here. I can keep going farther that way and farther that way. And so this is going to show me now if I want to know, I have to keep going to my next group, which is 600 and 800. And I find that point there, and I see that when there are 800 girls, there are 600 boys, which is our answer that we found in other cases. So this is just a way to represent the table, which the table is a good strategy in itself. I called this the table in the coordinate plane. This is the table, and this is the coordinate plane. It's a good way to really see ratios, and it also helps you remember that any point in between here is a ratio I can make. Whatever this is, looks like probably 400 boys, 500 girls, something like that. Like all these points in the middle are all different sets of the ratio that I can make. So that's the strategy. We'll practice it more tomorrow. This one can be a little cumbersome to use to find an answer, but it's a good one to show an answer. And so I wanted to introduce you to it. If you need to go back and watch any of these again to make sure you really understand this before class tomorrow, please do, and I will see you then.